In Phase 1, Intercity Transit fixed bus service was grounded. Now, fixed bus service is operational for all travel in Thurston County. City of Lacey's City Council member Carolyn Cox and Intercity Transit General Manager and CEO Freeman-Manzanares are joining us today to tell us all about how Intercity Transit has adapted to new rules for public health and safety. Well, hi there, Carolyn and Ann. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks
Hello.
for having us.
Well, we're now in Phase 3 of the Safe Start Plan. What are the changes Intercity Transit has been through to accommodate the new health and safety regulations?
Well, we've had masks available for our employees for some time to help with air quality issues associated primarily with wildfires. We now have multiple types of masks available to address not only safety, but fit and comfort as we ask employees to wear masks throughout their work shift. And we have always provided hand sanitizer, sanitizing wipes, and gloves for our employees. Unfortunately, we have great staff that have done an outstanding job ensuring everyone has what they need throughout this public health emergency. So the supply demand issue hasn't negatively impacted us. And in addition to our regular cleaning protocols, we have added daily use of electrostatic sprayers using hospital grade disinfectants to kill the coronavirus. And we have employees stationed at the transit centers throughout the day wiping down high touch areas. Our staff also designed a plexiglass shield for both our buses and our dial lift vehicles to add a layer of protection for our drivers. And we now have mask and touchless hand sanitizers available for our passengers on board. We have been working diligently with our federal, state, and local health officials to ensure we're doing what we can to protect the health and well-being of our passengers and our employees.
Well, fantastic. So what's the new norm look like for bus riding now? I noticed that people enter in the back doors. Is that right? Is that a new change?
Yeah,
what
since we implemented zero fare in January, we've had both rear and front door boarding this whole time. So that really wasn't a change for us. But talking about under Phase 1, the stay home, stay healthy, at that point in time, only essential travel was allowed. So in support of that effort, we encourage people to only travel for essential trips, essential jobs and essential errands like grocery shopping, and otherwise stay home if at all possible to reduce the transmission rate. The same was true for us under Phase 2. We were providing transportation for essential trips only. And now that we're in Phase 3, which includes non-essential travel, so there isn't as much of a limitation in that regard. The focus continues, to be keeping us safe and healthy. People shouldn't travel when they feel ill. They need to wear their mask, keep their physical distance, use hand sanitizer, not touch their eyes and mouth, all the safeguards that we've been hearing about for months now. And passengers need to take particular care with the health of their driver. We have a shortage of drivers, either because they or a person in their family has a vulnerability to COVID. And without our amazing drivers, we can't put service on the street. So it's important that we guard the health and well-being of our drivers and all the staff that support them.
So in Phase 1, you didn't have the fixed routes. You actually had kind of a dial lift thing where you'd go to people's house, pick them up, take them to essential places or when they needed to go, emergencies only. But now, are all of the routes open back to normal, or is there some limitations?
There are some limitations. So, and you'll see on the bus that it's considered limited service. So we have about 35% of our service back on the road right now because we don't have enough operators to put service out on the street. So it's the majority of our normal routes, but not all of them.
Well, how do people find out which routes are open? Are all routes running, but maybe just not as often? What does it look like?
Yeah, we're running from 8:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. And all of our routes are running during that period about every hour, where before we had some 15-minute service and 30-minute service in that area. With the exception of the route to Yelm, the 94 is running about every 2.5 hours. And currently we're not running into Pierce, County only with our advanced reservation system for people who are working in Pierce County. Until both counties reach phase 3, the Thurston County Public Health Department has encouraged us not to provide service until we're both in phase 3. So we're just providing that advanced reservation service.
Okay, that makes sense.
So
people just need to go online to find out when the bus is going to come, because those regular pamphlets, they're not going to really be accurate, are they?
No, they're not right now. So we have a one-page document that we have at the transit centers, and we have passed them out throughout town through a variety of social service agencies, and it's also online. So you can go online and see what the service is exactly right now. We also have the ability for people to sign up for something called Gov Delivery. So if you go on our website and sign up, you'll get messages directly to your text, to your phone, or to your email address when service is changing.
Okay, awesome. Well, back before COVID, sometimes the bus driver would help people that had disabilities get on the bus. What happens now, and what should people that need assistance be prepared for?
I'll take that one. Obviously, if somebody does have a mobility issue and they need a ramp, our drivers are prepared to allow them to enter, lower the ramp and allow them to enter the front of the bus. One change that they will see is that when the driver escorts the person to the place where their mobility device is to be secured, the driver will be wearing not only a mask, but a plexiglass, well, not a plastic shield over their face. We do ask riders who are in mobility devices to turn their face away from the driver and not speak to the driver while the driver is securing the mobility device, and that's for everybody's protection.
Okay. Now, the seating is probably a little bit different because you want people to socially distance on the bus. Can you tell me a little bit about what the seating looks like now? And also, is there like a capacity, is there reduced capacity on the bus? Do you have to say, okay, the bus is full, we don't pick up any more people? Does that happen too?
Well, I could start that, and I may need a little help from Ann to finish the answer. Passengers are going to see signage on the buses to encourage physical distancing. If people are traveling together, however, they, of course, can sit together, but persons who are riding as single passengers, we do encourage to maintain as much physical distance as possible. And in terms of bus capacity, can you finish that answer?
So for dial-lift vehicles, that was beautiful, by the way. For dial-lift vehicles, we are limiting the number of individuals to 3. Those are typically our most vulnerable passengers as well. So we want to make sure that we have good social distancing on our dial-lift vehicles. On our buses during phase 1, we did start with limiting the number of people on board, and it didn't work well because we were leaving people behind who were traveling to essential jobs and essential errands. And that's why we went to the advanced reservation system, so we could ensure that people who did have essential trips could make those safely. Now that we have masking, and there's some other information out there which helps us be safe, we are not limiting the loads on the buses, but what we're doing is we have automatic passenger counters on board, so we can track the number of people who are on the buses. And for those that have high ridership, we're putting up backup buses to spread out the loads as much as possible.
Okay, and would those backup buses come like right after another, so the bus driver could say, come get the next bus, it'll be up right after me?
Yeah, if we already have that data, they will, and we're already doing that on Martin Way because we know that the ridership there is high. So we will have a backup bus there more regularly. And again, we're pressing against the number of operators that we have available and the number of vehicles that we have available to make sure that people can attain some social distancing.
Well, you talked about the free fare program, and it's made national headlines. Now, so the transit gained many more users. How are the numbers now? I guess I wouldn't imagine they're back to what they were in February, but what is it looking like? How's your ridership?
No, so yeah, we started the 5-year zero fare demonstration project in January of this year. And that was to fulfill, a wide variety of goals the community had established for us to and avoid the capital and operational expenses associated with replacing our old and failing fare collection system. We learned in this process that the regional fare collection system that people were in favor of us going to, which is ORCA, it's what serves King County, Pierce, Snohomish County. They're in the process of replacing their fare collection system. So it wasn't going to be available to us for a while. And we also found in our evaluation that it actually cost more to collect the fare than we were collecting, which was a little bit surprising to us. So we did kick off that demonstration this January. The first month, our boardings increased by 20%. So that was over 66,000 additional boardings over our 2019 ridership counts. In February of this year, our boardings increased 39%. So that's over 112,000 boardings over our 2019 ridership counts. So the numbers were strong and exactly what we were hoping to see. March, of course, was a strange month for everyone. It was the first time those of us that work in transit had to spend time figuring out how to get people to stop taking the bus, which is not, familiar territory for us. And our ridership really didn't decrease much in March until the governor's order closed all but essential businesses. And many of our riders began telecommuting, and there just weren't as many places to go. So we didn't have as many riders. Our ridership, though, remained at the 55 to 65%, and that was still more people than we felt comfortable having on the vehicles at that time. So that's in part too why in April we went to the reservation system, which limited the number of trips that people could make. And in doing so, we could follow those recommended social distancing recommendations. We provided that service mid-April through mid-June, and we provided about 25,000 trips through the advanced reservation system. And we found that about 80% of those were to essential jobs, and about 20% were essential errands, like running to the grocery store and getting to the doctor's office. And then we just resumed bus service a couple of weeks ago. And like I said, we resumed about 35% of our previous level of service. And, interestingly enough, the systems throughout the nation went fare free during the initial stages of the crisis because they didn't want so many people in close proximity to the driver. And they didn't want to risk associating with money and the fact that the virus could remain on both coins and that paper money. And we were already there, so we could skip that step. Fortunately, and now we were only 2 months into the true experimentation with the demonstration project. So we're looking forward to getting back to a more normal state, whatever that looks like, and whenever it looks like that. And that could very well be a year from now. So we'll pick up where we left off in February.
So you're ahead of the game with the not taking money. That sounds good. Yeah, I appreciate all you guys are doing to keep these buses going. I guess when maybe, I guess time will tell whether or not you can increase the number of bus routes with how many bus drivers are more comfortable with coming to work and things like that, huh? So is there anything else that you would like to add? Let's start with Carolyn. Carolyn, is there anything else you'd like to add before we let y'all go today?
Sure. A few points I'd like to add. Number one is that through this process and always, our first priority is keeping our passengers and our staff safe. That's always been the case, as I said, but I've been really impressed with the additional sanitation and amenities that have been provided for both our passengers and our staff to help everybody remain safe and healthy. I'd like to commend the staff at Intercity Transit for providing essential transportation throughout this crisis and doing what needed to be done to keep everyone as safe as possible, and to let our community know that we are dedicated to restoring fuller service as soon as it is safe to do so and practicable to do so. As Anne suggested, this is going to be gradual as we await the return of employees who are particularly vulnerable to the virus. I have to share with you that employees are really loving it when they're out driving buses now and people literally are clapping for them as they drive by. And it's really heartwarming and a great tribute to the wonderful community we live in. And finally, I'd like to leave you with 3 brief thoughts. Be safe, be calm, and be kind.
That's lovely. Thank you. Thank you, Carolyn. How about Anne? Do you have anything you'd like to add?
Just a big shout out to the staff at Intercity Transit and to our board for being so supportive. People have been working really hard through this crisis to make sure that everybody can remain safe. And to our community, people have been incredibly supportive, and we are really appreciative of that.
Well, I just also like to add one more question, and that is about the sanitation of the buses. I know that it might put people's mind at ease to know that they're cleaned. At the end of the day, could you tell me a little bit about the sanitation process?
Oh, absolutely. So in addition to the regular cleaning, we have purchased electrostatic sprayers, and they use those every evening on the vehicle. And they use a hospital grade cleaner that is known to kill the coronavirus, which of course is something that we absolutely need to do in this time frame. So in addition to the electrostatic sprayers and the hospital grade cleaners, we also have employees stationed at both the Olympia Transit Center and the Lacey Transit Center wiping down the vehicles in between runs. And we're encouraging passengers to come prepared. In addition to having their mask available, we have masks available for them as well, and hand sanitizer. But as people go out and about in this day and age, people need to remember to bring their supplies, bring their own hand sanitizer and wipes and so forth as well, so we can keep everything as clean and safe as possible.
And do you turn away riders that don't have a mask?
Masks are required. So
Okay.
if they don't bring their own, we have a mask for their use.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today, and keep up your good work.
Thank you.
If you're going to take the bus, please wear a mask and practice social distancing when you're picking a seat. Remember, bus service is still limited. Go to intercitytransit.com to check on the status and schedule of the routes you need. That's all we have for you today. Tune in next time for more updates. Again, if you have any questions or suggestions for something we should cover, send an email to rkam@tcmedia.org. Stay home, stay updated with Thurston Community Media, and stay safe, Thurston County.